Why shouldn't I post my email address in a public forum? Hi everyone, Leo Notenboom here for askleo.com. Here's the question we got. I need to include my email address as part of my comment or question, but I'm told that that's a horrible idea. Why is that, and what should I do? The why is easy. Spam. By posting your email address in a public forum, you are asking for more spam. The what to do instead? Well, that's a little bit more complicated. Here's the issue. Anything that looks like an email address posted publicly, pretty much anywhere, is going to get slurped up by spammers as a potential target for their spam. Now, it's not as bad as it once was. They certainly have a lot of other places to get email addresses for spamming, but it's still the case that if you post your email address in any way that makes it publicly visible, then spammers are absolutely going to harvest it, and they are absolutely going to start trying to send spam to it. I have this wonderful example. So this is a revision of an article that I wrote several years ago. And in that article, I set up an email address specifically to prove my point. That email address in the article is muchspam@ask-leo.com, my old domain name. And at that time, it really didn't get a whole lot of spam, not right away. But then it started ramping up and ramping up and ramping up. And in fact, in the 18 years since I first published that article with that email address, it has gotten spam the entire time. Literally, I checked when I went to update this article and create this video, and sure enough, it's still getting spam 18 years later, even though that email address is not used for anything, and in fact, it appears in one and only one place, buried in a paragraph in an article on my website. Kind of proves my point. They're going to get your email address if you post it. And yes, that's why I say if you intentionally post an email address publicly, it's tantamount to literally asking for more spam. So don't do that. What do you do instead? Well, that gets context specific. It depends on what it is you're doing. For example, on Ask Leo, if you leave a comment, I ask you for your email address, but it is not published publicly. In fact, I think there's a disclaimer right there by the comment form that says we don't. I need it to be able to reach out to you if I've got questions or concerns, but it is not something that actually gets publicly visible once you post your comment. Hopefully most places do that. There are forms that will require email addresses. Again, it's not a situation where you are necessarily using that to post your email address publicly. You're providing that email address to whoever is submitting or asking for the information from you. Where I see people do it anyway, still in Ask Leo comments, is that, yes, there's an email address field that they fill out, but then in the body of their comment, they will include an email address. Well, that's asking for spam. Now, I will go through and when I see that in my comments, remove it. I'll say, email address removed. But the bottom line is that you can't count on that from other sites. You can't count on that industry-wide. It's just not going to happen. If you post it publicly, it's public. Don't do that. Now, there are some cases where it's, I don't want to say unavoidable, but it's at least unintentional. The one that tends to get folks from time to time are email discussion list archives. Typically, not always. Recently, they're doing a better job of obfuscating the email addresses, and I'll talk about that in a second. But it certainly used to be that the archives would include the full email address of all the participants. And sure enough, all the participants started getting spam eventually. I actually have a situation where years ago, long ago, before even Ask Leo, I used my wife's email address to post something on Usenet, the old discussion mechanism. And sure enough, she's still getting hundreds of spams to that email address every day. Whoops. So, obfuscation, I mentioned, I'll call that the second best defense. The best defense is just to not even do it. Use some other mechanism to get your email address to the person you're trying to get it to. Don't post it publicly. If you must post it publicly, then obfuscate it somehow. I use, at one point, askleo space at space gmail.com. Yeah, that actually will stop some spammers. It's not always the case. I mean, they've kind of cottoned on to that approach, and they will actually parse that as an email address. So I took it one more step. askleo @gmail. And then I spelled out SEEOHOM, which, if you pronounce that, is COM. So it's gmail.com. The bottom line here is that you're trying to make it difficult for automated tools to understand that what they're looking at is an email address. There are a number of different ways to obfuscate things. And in fact, it's controversial, right? Like I said, since there are a number of ways to obfuscate things, machines are getting smarter, spammers are getting smarter, it still may not work. The best thing to do, of course, is just not post your email address publicly in any form. So hopefully that makes it clear as to why you really, really don't want to do that. To the best extent you can, don't post your email address in any way that is publicly visible. If you are, in fact, asking, please send me more spam. For updates, for comments, for links related to this topic and more, visit askleo.com/2397. I'm Leo Notenboom. This is askleo.com. Thanks for watching.